Yo guys, what's up? You're welcome to the channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui, and on this channel I make some tutorials. I post new videos every Wednesdays and Saturdays. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to make a monostrap A-line dress. Okay, so if you are interested, please make sure to watch to the end of the video to see how everything turns out. If you're a beginner or if you're a person who just wants to brush up on your skill, I offer online courses. I'm going to be showing a demo how to make a jumpsuit for you to watch and decide if learning online will be convenient for you. Okay, so please, if you like the video, don't forget to share it. You guys have not been sharing my videos. Share my videos on your groups, share with other people, and it will help the channel a lot. Please, I beg you in the name of God, please share the videos, please. Thank you. I'll see you guys in another video. Have a nice day. Bye. Alright, so you're welcome back to another video. Now you guys have seen the image the dress that I showed you guys in the bureau. That's the first part of the video that you saw. Before we begin, we know that this is a flay dress, okay, but before we begin, we're going to need to draft the top parts of the dress. Okay, so now there are easier ways. Most times you guys see me always drafting the bodice whenever I want to do anything, but there's always a quicker way, but it might confuse the beginners among us. So that's why I always take the time to draft out a bodice, so you guys see the progression of everything from the bodice all the way down to whatever we are doing. So now the first thing, we're going to need to draft the first top parts of the bodice. Okay, so we're going to come to the top here. Okay, and we're going to place the shoulder measurement up there. Okay, so you see this top part here, I'm going to simply just draw ½ inch. So from the edge here, from the edge of the paper to where I'm making my mark, there is half an inch gap between them. All right, so you guys see the blue line. So from top to where the blue line is ½ inch. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my shoulder measurement. Okay, so my shoulder measurement is 15 divided by 2, sorry, 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Make a mark at 7.5. so from here to here is 7.5. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my neckline width and my neckline depth. So for my neckline width, I'm going to use a 3.5. okay, and my neckline depth I'm going to use 4 inches. Okay, so from here to here is 4, from here to here is 3.5. so I'm going to draw this out, and then I'm going to make a curve. All right, so I'm going to easily make a curve from here out to here. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slope my shoulder by 1 inch. So you see from this point here, that's the shoulder mark. I'm going to come down by 1 inch, there, and then I'm going to make a slope. All right, so from here to here it's the slope. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the armhole measurement. Okay, now how do we find our armhole? The formula for finding the armhole is the bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. so 38 divided by 6 plus 1.5 is 7.8. I'm going to approximate that number to 8 inches. Okay, because 7 by 8 and 8 inches are very, very close together. Okay, so I'm going to slope this 8 inches. All right, so this is the armhole. Okay, now you guys know already that after we place 8 inches, we're supposed to come for my viewers, my subscribers that watch my videos frequently. You guys know that since this is 8 inches, we're going to come to the middle of 8 inches. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so that's the middle of the armhole. We're going to make a mark like so. From here we're going to come in by ½ inch. All right, so you see this, they're going to come ½ inch deep. Okay, so you see that that's ½ inch exactly. All right, and then I'm going to slope out. Thank God that I'm going through all these places, but I've not posted a video for like 2 weeks until Wednesday, and I know that a lot of you have started seeing somebody else. I know people have been watching videos from other channels, isn't it? No, tell the truth. Now, I know this class will not continue. What have you been watching while I've been away? Tell me. Sure, you have seen your life. You cannot just be patient and wait for me just 2 weeks. Anyway, back to what we are doing. The next step is to place the bust measurement. Now the bust measurement, now if you notice, we've not used our under bust length to find our bust. The things that we usually do whenever we're drafting the bodies. That's because at this point it is enough. Okay, I'm going to cut this out, but to guide us for when we're cutting the A-line. Just watch and see what's going to happen. So the bust is 38. Bust divided by 4 is 9.5. okay, so I'm going to come to 9.5. I'm going to come here, you see this, at the armhole, and I'm going to make a mark at where 9.5 is. You see that? And then I'm going to mark my 2 inches of allowance after here. You see that? That's all we need. That's all. That is all. Okay, after I'm done with this, I'm going to simply come to the top and I'm going to place my shoulder. That's my allowance for my shoulder. When I'm done with that, the next step is to cut this out. Alright, so guys, you can see this is what we have left on the table. Alright, so this is the last part that we have. Let me show you guys how we're going to fold the fabric. This is going to come in handy for when we are placing when we are marking out our fabric. Okay, so let's move on to the fabric. Okay, now before we even move forward, you guys should have this, just have this behind your at the back of your mind. I'm using 3 yards total for the dress, as you guys have seen it. This piece I have here, and I've divided the 3 inches into 2 places. So this part that you can see in front of me is 1.5 inches long. Okay, so from the beginning here all the way down to the end there is 1.5 inches. Okay, and as for the width of the fabric, okay, this comes in a by 60. This is a by 60. All right, so it is 1.5 inches by 1.5 yards, sorry, 1.5 yards by 60. All right, so let's start folding. All right, so I opened up the lens a bit more so that you guys can see a bit better. Now this is the length by 60, and this is the side where I measured the 1.5. okay, so now keeping it on the side has the 1.5. okay, this part here, okay, where's the front? Oh, okay, it looks good either way, but this part here is the front, and we're going to need to fold. Now the way we have been, for almost everything that we've made on the channel, I think I've shown you guys 2 methods of cutting. I've shown you guys how to cut on, you know, the fold that we used to fold when we were trying to cut peplums and flails and stuff like that, and I've showed you guys this method here. This is the most commonly used method for almost anything on the straight fold. Okay, but there are other folds besides just the straight fold. Okay, so peep this. When for this dress here, if you're trying to cut it, first of all you make the straight fold like this. Okay, so this is the straight fold from the beginning all the way down to the end. Look at the end. Okay, so everything stays flat first. Okay, and then the next thing is we're going to need to tilt this. So watch this, see this, watch what's happening at the top now. Okay, I'm going to grab the top and I'm going to pull it forward. As I'm pulling it forward, I'm going to adjust everything else to fall like that. Okay, so you see this now, you see this. All right, so you guys can see what's happening. I've bent here in, you see the way I folded it, and I've pushed here out. Okay, so here the top part here that was straight has come in while here has gone out. Okay, so now this is the method that you use when you're trying to cut A lines, okay, and you don't have a very long fabric that's like by 75. Now there are other methods where you fold, you collapse it in 4 places. If you don't know how to cut flails, watch my video on how to cut 360, 720 and 1440 degrees flay. But this is also how to cut a flay. So now most times you want to employ this when you are trying to cut, for instance, if you are cutting a dress and the bottom that has a half cut, okay, and that has joining to it, you might want to use the other method in the video on the 360, 720 and 1440 if the length of the dress is short. But if the length of the dress is long, most times that will be too short for you, so you might want to employ this method. Now this method isn't as full as the other, all right, but with this you can achieve a greater length than if you used the other method. I hope it's clear. Okay, so this is the length. Remember, we're making a dress, we're not making a skirt, and it has to come from the top all the way down. All right, so check this. Now one thing you must know is that this has a bit of terms and conditions. If we continue tilting it like this, if I continue tilting here to make it smaller and I continue extending here, the length will become shorter but it will become fuller. Okay, and know that when it becomes fuller, where the terms and condition applies is, check this, see this side here, you see this side, look at what's happening now. The side that is going the other way is becoming shorter around here, so you need to be careful about that so that you don't go and draft a flay that is too short. Most times we need to attach at that end there. Okay, but let's just move forward. All right, so we have it out of our heads that the more you tilt it in, the more you would have a shortage on this side, but the fuller the flay on the dress will become. Okay, so now to begin, The first thing I'm going to do is, you see that? Now look at what I've done here at the top here. I've placed this pattern that we drafted on top of the fabric. But when you're placing it, don't go to the very top. When you're placing it, always make sure that you have, because see, it's just like this, a shortage at the end of the dress. There's going to be a shortage on this side, so you want to make sure that your shoulder does not go all the way up into where you have the shortage. If not, you won't have a shoulder on one side. All right, so now that that is out of the way, I want you to place your pattern, that pattern that we drafted, on top the way I'm placing mine. Okay, place it on top like so, and then I want you to drop a paperweight on top of it. Okay, so you pin it on top or you drop a paperweight like so. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to mark the length of the dress. Alright, so straighten it out, and then we're going to mark the length of the dress now. So we're going to come from the very top. So the length of the dress is 37 inches. We're going to come to the very top here, and we're going to, now look at what I'm doing. I'm skipping half an inch at the top. So you see where this half inch is. I'm starting my dress length from after that half inch, the second parallel line, the bottom parallel line. Okay, and then I want you to mark where you have the 37 inches. So you can see we have it down here. So down here we have the 37 inches. So I want you to mark 37. Okay, I want you to move down, make a mark 37 everywhere. So keep marking it 37, and after you have marked 37, you've marked another 37. You're going to need to draw a straight line from here all the way down. I hope that you can see this part here really clearly. I need you to draw a 37 from here. Okay, I'll follow it straight down. Just draw it straight down first. Okay, now you can see we have the straight line for the hem of the dress. The next thing I want you to do is this. You're going to come to after where you have that 2 inches. Okay, so you see this was where we marked the bust measurement at the top. Alright, so here we mark the bust measurement at the top. We're going to come to where after 2 inches was supposed to be. Okay, the allowance. Okay, you see this part here, this mark that we have here is the actual bust measurement. Okay, this line here, from here to here is the bust measurement. So 2 inches after that is where you're going to start from, and then you're going to need to draw a line from here, from this point here, all the way down to where you have that 37. Now this is really easy. So you see what we've done. I've drawn a line from here. Okay, from here, and I've drawn it all the way up to the armhole. Now you see this place here, if you cut it just exactly how it looks now, it's going to be a bit too sharp. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to come up by 2 inches at the edge right here. Okay, I want you to come up by 2 inches, and I want you to make a mark. You see that? Come up by 2 inches and make a mark. Then I want you to make a slope from that mark out. Okay, so curve it back out gradually. Okay, please, I hope that you can see my pen. So you see this, I've sloped it up. If you keep it here, the edges would have ears on the side and it's going to be too sharp. So that is what you want to avoid. Okay, so you see, I opened it up. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out. And then I want you to cut around here exactly the same. That's around the body of the top part here. Cut it exactly the same. Alright, alright, so now check this out. You see, so here it's tilting like so, and by the time we lift this up, all of here, look at what's happening at the bottom. You see there's some waviness going on around the bottom. That's because all this part that was standing here, gravity would push everything here to come down, and when that happens, it's going to form a little scallop at the bottom. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the other fabric. Okay, I'm going to fold the other piece of my 1.5. Remember I told you that there was 3 yards, and I divided 1.5 into 2 places. So I'm going to fold this one exactly the way I folded this, and I'm going to cut a pattern exactly like this on this fabric. Alright, so let's do that. Okay, so now the next step is, okay, first of all, you guys can see that I have two parts of the same pattern like so. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to find the front of each of these places. So the front of the fabric, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay, and you're going to spread it flat like so. Alright, so after you've found this part here is the front that is facing up. Okay, I'm going to look for the front of this side as well, and then I'm going to place it on top. Okay, after I've placed the two parts on one another like so, all right, okay, we are going to figure out. Now you guys have seen the picture that we are dealing with. It's a monostrap. Okay, so now I don't want the neckline to go deeper than it already is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come ½ inch after here. You see this? I'm going to come ½ inch after the shoulder. Okay, ½ inch after the shoulder, and remember we use the neckline depth of 4 inches, and I'm going to make a mark here at 4 inches. You see this? Right at this point right here. Okay, and then we're going to draw a line, continue that 4 inches all the way out. So easy. That's just it. That's just it. I don't want the neckline to come lower than this. Okay, because remember we're going to still need to turn this with the bias when we're sewing. So look at that, we've shaved off one side of the armhole completely. Now for this part here, I'm going to draft a regular sleeve. I have a video on how to draft the sleeve. I'm going to link it here, and I'm going to put it at the end of the video. So if you don't know how to draft the sleeve, go and see how to draft that part there. Okay, and then for the for this sleeve here, let's move on to how to draft this sleeve. Okay, all right, so here we have our pattern paper. Now the sleeve length that we are working with is a sleeve length of 24 inches. Oh sorry, but to address this, just came to my mind that I didn't place any hip measurements in that A-line dress, and the reason why I skipped that is because no matter how big she is, okay, so we're dealing with a person that has a bust of 38 and a person that has an underbust round of 32, okay, and the person's hip is 41. So if we fold that, okay, so let me bring the pattern back. Sorry that I didn't address why we didn't use the hip. So check this out. So you see, this is one of the patterns that we are working with. All right, so even if she has a hip of 41, and if we were drafting, we would have placed her hip at 10.5. okay, her hip would have been 10.5. so even if I find her hip, okay, so let's come from the top here. So underbust length is 15, hip is going to sit 9 inches down, which is around here. So even if I come here and I place her hip line, look at where it's stopping, look at where it stops here. Okay, so this, even if she had a hip of 50, it will fit in this space. That's why you didn't see me employ the hip measurements. Okay, just to get that out of the way in case you have any questions on that part. Now back to the sleeve. The sleeve length is supposed to be 24 inches, okay, but you guys know that we've already cut away 4 inches from the top part. You guys remember when we cut off the 4 inches that was sitting around the armhole? Look at this neckline here, we shaved it off, we shaved here off. Okay, so you see this part here is gone. Now what was I saying? Yeah, for the sleeve, the bicep, the person's sleeve length, okay, was supposed to be 24 minus the 4 inches that we cut off from the shoulder is going to leave us with a sleeve length of 20 inches. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. So we're dealing with a sleeve length of 20 inches, and we're going to make a mark at the top of the 20 inches. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the bicep measurement. So the bicep measurement is 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a mark at 6. Okay, so this is the top part. Okay, so 6 is where the bicep stops. Remember, we're adding 2 inches to it, so 2 inches here. Okay, come to the bottom and do the same thing. So 6 plus 2 is 8. I'm going to come to the bottom 2, make a mark at 8. Draw a straight line from here to the other 8. Sorry, let me confirm that this is still 8. Okay, so we're on track. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simply cut this off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simply take this part. So you see this part here that doesn't have a sleeve length. Okay, you see this part here that doesn't have a sleeve length. You're going to simply place it on top of this. That's this part here that doesn't have a shoulder. Sorry, let me show you guys something. Look at this. That's the part with the shoulder. We're going to take the side that doesn't have a shoulder, and we're going to place it like this. So you see this here, this is just a rectangle. Come to one side, and the top part here is equal, bottom part is equal. So even if you did this down here, it'll still be the same thing. Simply take this and place it like so. Okay, simply place it like so. You see this, and then we're going to cut this off clean. this is the pattern that will be used to cut the sleeve that will sit on the part that is sleeveless. As for the side that's supposed to have, that doesn't have a shoulder, that's an all shoulder, as for the side that will have a shoulder, that I'll draft the regular sleeve for that part. Alright, so here you can see that this is the second sleeve, the sleeve I told you guys to go and watch. Notice how this part here is in, and then the outside of the sleeve, this side that's the outside would face the back of the armhole. Alright, and then if you notice, I did not taper even though it's a long sleeve, I didn't taper it from here in. That's because we're going to use rib to scrunch in the bottom. Now for those of you who do not know what rib is, this is rib. I used it in my video on how to make a bomber jacket. I'm going to install this right at the bottom part here, okay, sort of like a sweater. Here it's going to be at the bottom, and that's what's going to drag all of here in. So I need it to be as big as possible. So whatever I place the bicep measurement plus 2 inches, and I place the bicep measurement plus 2 inches at this point as well. All right, so that's for the sleeve that will be on the side that has a shoulder. And you see this pattern that I used to draft the second sleeve. Notice how here is on the fold and it's sealed. You want yours to be sealed at this point too. So now let's head over to the sewing machine so we can piece all of these parts together. All right. Alright, so now the first part was that would handle is the rib. Okay, so you guys have seen rib before on this channel. I used it in the video how to draft a bomber jacket, and you can see it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the distance around the person's wrist. Okay, and when I did for this person it was 7. Okay, you add 1 inch to the 7, meaning that we're going to cut this 8 inches. Alright, so 8 inches, and I'm going to cut it. And of course the person has 2 wrists, so I'm going to cut this twice. I'm going to cut it again. Alright, so now we have enough rib for both sides, for both wrists. Alright, now what I'm going to do is this. So you've seen the way it is. I'm going to flip it open and collapse it on itself like so. Then I'm going to sew from the beginning all the way down to the end. Alright, so you see I backstitched at the beginning and I backstitched at the end. I'm going to do the same thing to this part as well. Alright, so you guys can see that here I've stitched both sides of the rib. The next thing I'm going to attend to is the sleeve. Okay, so you can see this is the sleeve for the part that has a shoulder. Okay, I'm going to flip it inside out, and I'm going to run here from beginning to the end. Okay, so you see the end that we have here. Simply run from the beginning to the end at 1/2 inch. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side, that is for the part of the armhole that is sleeveless. Okay, we're going to also flip it inside out too, and I'm going to join here. Okay, so you see this is the side with the armhole curve. I'm joining the bottom part, that's this part here, 1/2 inch from the beginning all the way down. Okay, so let me show you guys how we're going to attach the rib to the end of this. When you're done, see this, you're going to turn the whole thing inside out. Okay, so you can see this is the side that we just joined here, the bottom of the sleeve. So we're going to come to the end, that is all the way down here, and we're going to attach the rib to it. So you see this, I'm going to cut here, I'm going to turn this back to the front. You see this here, I'm going to simply collapse it like so and turn everything inside out. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to do that is like this. I'm going to take it, so you see the side that is sealed here, you're going to push it into the inner part of the body, and then the side that is open will match with the bottom part. Alright, so I'm going to take this part, align it with the seam that we just that we made on the sleeve, and I'm going to sew around 1/2 inch. Alright, so put it in. So now I'm stitching on the sleeve and the rib at the same time. Alright, you see the good side of the sleeve is facing the sleeve, while the 2 rough ends on both the rib and the sleeve are facing themselves. Now I'm going to go around the sleeve. I'm sewing only 1/2 inch. And with that, if you look at the sleeve, you will see that we have attached the rib around the sleeve that will sit on the part that doesn't have a shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the exact same process on the other side, on the other sleeve. All right, so okay, so you can see on the sleeve that is meant for the side, for the part of the dress that has a shoulder, I've also attached the sleeve at the rib at the end of the sleeve. All right, and with that I'm done with both sides of the sleeve for now. Alright, so next step I'm going to head over to the body and we'll start to piece that together as well. Alright, so you can see this is one side of the dress that we have. This is the side with the shoulder, and that's the side that's going to be off shoulder. Alright, now I'm looking for the front side. Make sure that you place, this is the front side facing you guys. Alright, so I'm going to take the front side of the other and I'm going to make it match with this. So front side facing the front side, so the front of your fabric facing the front side of the other side, and I'm going to join the shoulders together at 1/2 inch across. Okay, so I'm going to start from here and I'm going to sew all the way across. Now I'm sewing this dress here without any lining, okay? And if I was sewing it using lining, the way I would go about the whole thing would be a bit different. So if you guys are interested in seeing the same dress with lining, just make sure you comment down below in the comment section saying, please show me the lining. Okay, that's what you should comment down below if you're interested in seeing this with lining. And maybe if up to 100 people say show me with lining, I'll make a video on this same dress but with lining instead. So after we join the shoulder the way I have done, I'm going to sew down the side. So you see the armhole, I'm going to sew down this side 1/2 inch. So you've seen this, we've sewn the shoulder, we've sewn here down. We're going to come to the other part. Okay, so you guys can see this is the side that doesn't have a shoulder. I'm going to run the allowance 1/2 inch too from here all the way down. So you've seen everything that we have done. The next step is you need to head over to your ironing table and I need you to iron this part here flat. Okay, so you see the shoulder, you're going to need to iron it like so. Iron it completely flat. If you can, do the same thing. What I would advise that you do the same thing to the side, because I'm going to go and do that now. But I know a lot of you, laziness is what's killing you people, so if you don't want to do it, God is watching you. But yeah, also iron here too completely flat. Do the same thing on the other side. Iron here too completely flat. So as proof that I'm not part of the lazy tailors club, look at this. This is the shoulder. It has been ironed flat. Start with the part that doesn't have a shoulder. What we're going to do is this. So you see this here, this is how it's supposed to fit. You can tell already. We're going to pick here up, pick here up, and we're going to join them together. Okay, so let's start from the top here. We're going to come from the very top here. We're going to join them front facing front. So you see this is the front of the sleeve, this is the front of my fabric. They are facing themselves. Okay, and because we use the fabric to trace the body, to trace out the sleeve, they should sit exactly the same. I'm going to join them together from here. This is the top part and it's going to lead me all the way to the other side. 1/2 inch is what I'm going to use for the joining. Alright, alright, okay, and with that, you guys can see we have attached the sleeve to the off shoulder part with that simple and short. Alright, so you see that we've attached the sleeve to that part, and here is going to be regular, degular. We're going to come from here. Look at, still the same thing. You join the front facing the front, you come from the inside. Okay, and we're going to go around the armhole now. Okay, so you see this here, we're going to simply stitch around and this should fit perfectly. With that, we are right back to where we started. Okay, and if you simply pull this out, you would see that we have fixed the sleeve on the other side. Okay, so you see that nice and easy. Okay, so now we need to finish. Since we are not using lining, I advise you to use your overlocker to finish all the rough edges before you take on the last step I'm about to take on. And like I said before, if you want to see me make this with lining, make sure that you comment down below, show me the lining, and I'm going to make this exact same dress but with full lining instead. All right, that's going to be a lot neater than this. Okay, so now for the next step, we're going to need to finish here with a bias. Alright, so what we have here is the neckline. These are the sleeves that we just attached. So now the next step is we need to finish this neckline. Alright, for that we're going to use something called cotton bias. Okay, so what I want you to do, so you see this, cotton bias always comes folded. Okay, so the front side will look like so, and the inside there will be two parts that are folded in, one on the right and one on the left. So you can see that, and in between the line you will see that there is, because of how it was folded, there's a crease, there's a pre-made line in the center right there. I hope you guys can see that. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to open only one side of it and fold it up like so. So you see here stays open, but this side here stays closed. Then I need you to pick up your neckline. So you see this, I've laid the neckline flat. You see, this is the shoulder joining that we had. I've laid it flat. I'm going to take one side of this. Okay, make sure that the shoulder that you iron and kept flat still stays flat even after you've done this. And then I'm going to go from here all the way around. Okay, alright, so we have gone around and we are back to where we started from. So I need you to continue stitching into, you see this part, this is where we started from, right here. Alright, let me flatten. This is where you started from. Okay, so I want you to place this one on top of the other and stitch into where you started from. When you're ½ inch in, you back stitch and lock just like I have done, and then you're going to cut off the excess bias. Okay, and then we're going to need to stitch on top of the other. So you see this, flip it to the front like I have done. You're going to turn everything over like so. Okay, and then we're going to need to stitch. Now as you have seen, I'm using a bright colored thread so that my camera will be able to pick it up, because I care about you guys so much. Either that or I didn't plan this video out very well and I started sewing, and then I noticed, when I was cutting, I noticed that I didn't have light pink thread. But I just thought about the whole thing, and I said that I would tell you guys that because I care about you guys, but that might not be true. Alright, so I'm going to start to stitch from here all the way around. And by the way, the person I'm making it for is not even giving me jack, so I don't think the person has the right to say, well, why use the color, this color of travel? Like, mind your business, how much did you pay me on top of free clothes? Anyway, as I was saying, we are going to stitch on top of the bias from here top to bottom. Please watch closely at what I'm doing. With that, I am done. Okay. Okay, so you see that with that I'm done with this part here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hem the dress. So you see now the neckline is completely finished. I'm done with the neckline. The last thing is to hem the bottom of the dress. Let's just hem it. So you guys see what I'm doing here. I'm simply just going to fold half and fold half again, and I'm going to stitch it like that from beginning to the end. As I go along, I'm going to keep on hemming it. Done with the dress. I'm going to make the belt off camera, but that's pretty easy. So I'll see you guys in the next class. Be sure to neaten your work. So all this thread that's hanging loose like this, we're going to cut it off. And like I said before, this dress can be neater than this, but it can be also more complicated when making it than this. But there's a way to get a neater finish out of this dress, and if you're interested in seeing that, that means if you want to see me using lining on this completely, please comment down below, show me the lining, and I'm going to make a video on how to make this with full complete lining and everywhere neat and no rough thread showing anywhere. All right, so I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.